You're having a bad day. You're overwhelmed, anxious, spiraling, and you don't call a friend. You don't text your family. You don't reach out to anyone real. You open ChatGPT or Claude or some AI chatbot and you talk to it. Because it doesn't judge. It's always available. It says exactly what you need to hear. And for a few minutes, you feel better. But then you close the app and you're alone again. More alone than you were before. If that's you, if you've been using AI as your therapist, your friend, your emotional support system, this video is going to explain why that's not helping you. It's breaking you. And you need to hear this before it's too late. Let's go. First, let's be real about what's happening. Because this isn't just you, this is everyone. 48.7% of US adults used AI chatbots for psychological support in the last year. Half the country, and that number is growing every single day. Gen Z especially, you're lonely, you're anxious, you're burnout. And the idea of reaching out to a real person feels impossible. So you turn to AI because it's easier. It's always there. It never gets tired of you. It never tells you you're too much. And I get it. I really do. But here's what nobody's telling you. AI isn't fixing your mental health. It's making it worse. Let me explain what's actually happening in your brain when you use AI for emotional support. When you talk to a human, even through text, there's a connection. A real, messy, imperfect human connection. They respond based on their own experiences, their own emotions, their own limitations. And that's uncomfortable, because sometimes they say the wrong thing. Sometimes they're not available. Sometimes they don't understand. But that discomfort, that's where real connection happens. That's where you learn to navigate relationships, to tolerate imperfection, to give and take. When you talk to AI, there's none of that. It's perfectly calibrated to say exactly what you need. It's always available. It never misunderstands on purpose. It's frictionless. And that feels good until you realize you're training your brain to only accept perfect, immediate, effortless support. And then real humans feel exhausting, disappointing, not enough. Here's what the research is showing, and it's terrifying. People are forming emotional attachments to AI. Real attachments. They're talking to chatbots for hours every day. They're sharing things they've never told another human. They're feeling understood in ways they've never felt before. And some people are experiencing what psychologists are calling breaks with reality. They're starting to believe the AI actually cares, that it has feelings, that it's more than code. Teenagers are falling in love with AI companions. Adults are replacing their therapists with ChatGPT. Lonely people are choosing AI over real relationships because it's easier. And I'm not judging. I'm really not. Because I understand why. Real people are hard. They hurt you. They let you down. They're not always there when you need them. But AI is always there. AI never hurts you. AI says exactly what you need to hear, except it's not real, and your brain knows it. And that disconnect is destroying you. Let me tell you what this actually looks like in your life. You have a problem, and your first instinct isn't to call someone. It's to ask AI. You're upset, and instead of sitting with the feeling, you talk to a chatbot until it makes you feel better. And then you move on, without ever actually processing what you felt. You're lonely, but the idea of texting a real person feels exhausting. So you talk to AI instead, and it fills the void just enough that you don't reach out, but not enough that you actually feel connected. You stop investing in real relationships. Because why bother? Why deal with the messiness of humans when AI gives you everything you need without the risk? And over time, you become more isolated, more dependent on something that isn't real, more disconnected from actual people who could actually help you. Here's the part that scares me the most. AI is getting better, faster, more human-like. And the more human it feels, the more your brain is tricked into thinking it's real. But it's not. It doesn't care about you. It can't care about you. It's a language model. It's predicting the next word based on patterns. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't know you. It's not your friend. But your brain doesn't fully understand that because the interaction feels so real. So you keep going back. And every time you do, you're choosing AI over humans. And every time you choose AI, you make it harder to connect with real people. Now let's talk about why real human connection is so important, even when it's hard. Humans challenge you, they push back, they tell you things you don't want to hear. They're not always available, they have their own problems. And all of that, that's not a bug, that's a feature. Because real growth doesn't happen in a perfectly calibrated, algorithmically optimized conversation. It happens in the messy, uncomfortable, unpredictable space between two imperfect people trying to understand each other. Real connection requires vulnerability, risk, the possibility of being hurt, the possibility of being misunderstood. And when you skip all of that and go straight to AI, you're robbing yourself of the thing that actually makes you human, the ability to connect, to be seen, to be known by someone who could choose to reject you, but doesn't. Let me be clear. I'm not saying AI is evil. I'm not saying you should never use it. AI can be a tool, a starting point, a way to organize your thoughts before you talk to a real person. But it can't be your only source of support. It can't replace therapy. It can't replace friendship. It can't replace real human connection. Because when the AI conversation ends, when you close the app, you're still alone. And the loneliness is worse than it was before. Because you just had a conversation that felt real, but wasn't. And now your brain is more confused than ever. So what do? How do you break the pattern? First, you have to acknowledge what you're doing and why. You're using AI because real people feel too risky, too hard, too unpredictable. And that's understandable. But it's also a problem. Because avoiding discomfort doesn't make you less anxious. It makes you more fragile. So you start small. You reach out to one real person. Not AI, a real human. You text them something real, not surface level. Something you would have told the AI. And yes, it's going to feel terrifying. Because they might not respond the way you want. They might not respond at all. But that's the point. You're relearning how to tolerate uncertainty. How to be vulnerable with someone who isn't programmed to validate you. Second, you set boundaries with AI. Just like you would with any other potentially addictive thing. You don't use it as your first response to emotional distress. You use it after you've tried reaching out to a real person. You don't have conversations with it that last hours. You use it for quick questions, for organizing thoughts, for practical help, not for emotional intimacy. You remind yourself every single time that it's not real, that it doesn't care, that it's a tool, not a friend. Third, you rebuild your tolerance for human imperfection. Because here's the truth. Real people are going to disappoint you. They're going to say the wrong thing. They're going to be unavailable sometimes. And that's okay. That's normal. That's what being human is. If you're only willing to accept perfectly calibrated, always available, never messy support, you're going to end up alone. Because no human can give you that. Only AI can. And AI isn't real. Here's what I need you to understand. You deserve real connection. Not simulated connection. Real. You deserve to be seen by someone who chooses to see you. Not by something that's programmed to respond. You deserve to be vulnerable with someone who could hurt you, but doesn't. Not with something that can't hurt you because it's not capable of caring. And I know it's scary. I know real people are messy and complicated and hard. But that's what makes it matter. That's what makes it real. If you've been using AI as your therapist, your friend, your emotional support, it's time to ask yourself why. What are you avoiding? What are you afraid of? What do you think will happen if you reach out to a real person instead? And then do it anyway. Reach out. Be vulnerable. Risk the discomfort. Because on the other side of that discomfort is real connection, real support, real relationships. And that's worth more than 1,000 perfect AI conversations. If this made you realize you've been replacing humans with AI, Share this. Because someone else is doing the same thing and they think they're the only one. You need this one.